Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are continuing our comprehensive look at the rotation by looking at ancient origins. We've already looked at the headlines of rotation, link in the description. We've already looked at both Primal Clash and Roaring Skies, links in the description. So the only thing left is to have a go at ancient origins, and then of course the following video, where we look at Double Crisis and promo cards. Once again, we are splitting into three categories. Could be fun techs, cards that never saw a huge amount of play but were always sitting around and could have been fun in certain decks. Main cards that we are very much going to miss, and trainers. So starting off with could be fun techs, we've got Ariados. Ariados is a card that kept being mentioned. Of course, being a grass Pokemon, you got Forest of Giant Plants. The ability says you can just poison whenever you feel like it. Everyone kept saying it was going to be great in stuff like Vespiquen and Mega Sceptile, but just never saw a huge amount of play. Speaking of which, Mega Sceptile. Now, Mega Sceptile's an odd one, because at the very, very beginning, it actually saw a regional win here in the UK. It was, for a while, quite good, and it looked like it was going to be amazing. 100 damage, and you get to attach 2 extra energy, and you get to heal, and you've got high HP. Maybe it was the fact that Volcanion and Flareon were always running around. I don't really know, ladies and gentlemen. But after a very brief stint, this card became rubbish and never came back. Speaking of grass Pokemon that saw a little bit of play and then disappeared, never to be seen again, Virizion. Now for 2 grass energy, Virizion does 40 damage, plus 80 more if you've got more prize cards left than your opponent, i.e. if you're behind in the game. 2 energy for 120 seemed like a good card, but it just never really saw a huge amount of play despite the clear potential. Now, 2 cards that saw a bit of play initially and then really dropped off to nothing. Entei. Now, to be fair, losing Blacksmith really hurt Entei because that made it much better. We've got the one without the ancient trait. 20 damage plus 20 more for each of your opponent's bench. And then we've got the one with the ancient trait, Flame Screen for 30, and reduces damage done by 30 the following turn. Heat Tackle for 130. And of course, you would play 2 Assault Vests here, because you've got the Fated double ancient trait, and he would turn into a tank. Quad Entei for a while was a deck that people played, but the loss of Blacksmith and just the power creep and other better decks really consigned it to a nice little bit of history. Now, a card that saw so much play it arguably should be in the main card section, Regice. Regice has Resistance Blizzard, 70 damage, and during your opponent's next turn prevent all damage and anything else done by attacks to Regice by EXs. So you would just attack with Regice and EXs would just never do anything to you. Now, Pokemon Ranger would be an amazing counter to this, except nobody really played Pokemon Ranger. It saw a bit of play initially with Vileplume, and then the Vileplume box deck came around with Ninja Boy, where you would have either Jolteon or Regice or Glaceon, whatever was needed for that particular matchup. But it seems like around about the end of last year, this fell off the map, never to be seen again. Now, clutching at straws a little bit, we've got Golurk, a card which I always thought was quite interesting. It's got Fate to Stop, meaning abilities can't do anything to it. It's got Double Type, meaning it's both Psychic and fighting, and for 4 energy you can do 120 damage with both psychic and fighting type Pokemon for colorless energy. It could have been a really good tech to take down psychic weakness and fighting weakness in any deck you like, but nobody played it, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel like there's too many Golurk cards that looked fun but no one ever played them. Now, although it never saw much play, I'm going to mention Machamp here, but I'm not going to do much about Machamp. He was reprinted as XY Promo 108 in the triple power tins, so for that good reason, we get to keep Machamp. Although it was always Ariados that people thought Machamp would be good with, and it's gone, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have Ariados anymore. Mega Tyranitar. This was a card which I genuinely thought was going to be really good. I thought it had a huge amount of potential. Destroyer King does 110 damage plus 60 more for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So use something like a single Golbat and then you're hitting for 230. You can use double colourless energy, you can use Mega Turbo. I thought this had a potential to be a really big powerhouse deck, and although it saw a couple of League Challenge wins early on, people got bored quickly and never played it. And finally, Metagross. Now, Metagross EX is seeing play at the moment. This to me seems like a fun tech, Magnetic Warp. Once during your turn, you may switch your active with one of your bench, and your opponent switches as well. It's a escape rope, a warp point, for those of you that have been playing a while, as an ability. But then again, you could just retreat Metagross and use the ability to get all the energy back on. It just never really saw any play at all, which is a little bit sad. So, moving into main cards, we've got Vileplume. Vileplume has been the scourge of the format for a long time because of Forest of Giant Plants. You can go first, and on the very first turn of the game, you can evolve up into Vileplume, and your opponent has no item cards for the entire game. As recently as the North American International Championships, John Kettler got second with Decidueye Vileplume. This card is annoying. Many people are happy to see it go. Vespiquen might be my favourite attacker in the format at the moment. I adore Vespiquen, ladies and gentlemen. I've played a bunch of tournaments with this card. I've topped a bunch of tournaments with this card. Lots of good memories with Vespiquen. It's got the same attack as the old Flareon that I also had some success with and good memories of, but now it's gone. We're losing the Flareon, Vaporeon and Jolteon that make your stage 1 fire, water and electric. People are currently using the Flareon as a tech against Metagross GX, but they can't for much longer. Gyarados has been a good deck. Alex Dow won the Birmingham Regional Championships with Gyarados. It's a great deck. It has been for a while. Its time is over. And a card which I'm going to be super sad to see go, Unknown. And it is Unknown, not Unknown. It's a pronunciation which is very strange. Unfortunately, we're losing it. You just get to discard it and draw a card. I just spoke of my love for Vespiquen. In a Vespiquen deck, getting an extra Pokemon in the discard while drawing a card, what more could you want? Now, Hooper EX is not being rotated. This was also reprinted as a promo card, so it's alright, ladies and gentlemen. Hooper is staying because it was XY71. We're losing Giratina EX. Now, Giratina EX has really come and gone. I played a Xerneas Giratina deck right after Ancient Origins came out, in the same tournament that was won by Mega Sceptile. It's been seeing play with Darkrai. It's seen play pretty much on its own. It's seen play with a Veltal. Even recently, the Darkrai Dragonair deck has been playing Giratina for that double Dragon Energy. It was going to be a bit rubbish without double Dragon Energy, but it's gone now. And Lugia EX. Now, Lugia's got the same attack essentially as Tapu Lele, and Tapu Lele is seeing play in every deck. So Lugia has basically been replaced by Tapu Lele, but it's still sad that he's gone. Now, in terms of trainer cards, we are losing Ace Trainer. I once lost a game at a League Challenge by playing an Ace Trainer when I was ahead on prizes, which was stupid. You play it when you're behind. It's like an N where you get 6 cards, your opponent gets 3. Only ever really saw big play in Greninja. Nice comeback card. Eco Arm didn't see a huge amount of play, but it's the best we've got for recovering our tool card. In Mind Shao, you really needed this to recover your Focus Sash, so it's very upsetting to me that this is gone. Energy Recycler is not going away because it was reprinted in Guardians Rising. Faded Town was always supposed to be a great card with Giratina. Use Chaos Wheel to lock it in place, and then all the Megas take 2 damage counters between turns. Seemed like such a good plan. Never saw play. Forest of Giant Plants. Some people are going to be devastated to see this go. Some people are going to be delighted. It made all Evolution Grass decks viable. Bunch of people on my stream yesterday, twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. The most common question I got was, Ross, Is Decidueye going to be good after rotation? The answer is no. I don't think it is, because now it's just another awkward stage 2. Hexmaniac takes away 1 turn ability lock. You could get a KO on a Volcanion while playing Hexmaniac, then there's no steam ups the following turn, and you can win the game. Can't do that anymore. We've got Garbodor. You could, I suppose, Field Blower a tool off Garbodor and then replace it the following turn, but that's incredibly clunky. You can use Wobbuffet, but of course you've got to use Wobbuffet in the active, so maybe you attack with something like Umbreon and pop a Wobbuffet in the active. The fact is, Versus Seeker or Lele for Hexmaniac was a huge play that we can't play anymore. We're losing Level Ball, which really hurts the consistency of non-EX decks. We're losing Lucky Helmet. Got you a couple extra cards when you got hit. Was really good in Gyarados. We're losing Lysander, but we're getting Guzma before it rotates in Burning Shadow, so it doesn't really matter. We're losing Paint Roller, which saw a tiny bit of play here and there. Get rid of Stadium, draw a card. It wasn't great. We're losing Dangerous Energy, which never saw any play whatsoever. And we're losing Flash Energy. And Flash Energy did see some play, especially in Mega Manectric decks. Got rid of weakness. The problem was stuff like Enhanced Hammer or Jirachi could just get rid of it. And then you were losing an energy and you were getting your weakness back. It was too gosh darned annoying. Now, we also had in Ancient Origins Full Art Soul Secret Rares of Steven, Trainer's Mail, and Primal Koga, Primal Groudon, Mega Rayquaza with the bad ancient traits, but we've talked about them in previous videos. They're all rotating. We don't need to talk about them here. So, that was Primal Clash, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the main cards we're going to be losing. Vileplume, Vespiquen, Flareon, Vaporeon, Jolteon, the Eevees, Gyarados, Unown, Forest of Giant Plants, Hexmaniac, and Level Ball. You can argue Lysander, but because of Guzma, I don't think it really counts. They're the main cards we are going to be losing when Ancient Origins rotates on September the 1st. So, there is a comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. Tell me what cards you are going to miss. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter @TheWassy. Check out twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. Follow me there for live action. And if you want to support the pod and get a bonus pod fairly regularly, you can do so at patreon.com/PTCGRadio. The most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.